Okay, so uh, this deep dive, it's a big one. We're talking about classrooms that look like, I don't know, something out of Ready Player One, not the ones, we grew up with.
It's an interesting time, that's for sure. This whole education and tech thing.
Right. And for you, someone who's like really plugged into the future of learning, this has got to be exciting. We're talking about EON Reality's new EON-XR Education HMD bundle.
Yeah, I've seen this. They're saying it's gonna like completely change education, right?
That's the claim. So basically, it's this kit designed for classrooms, enough VR and AR gear for like, what is it, 30 students or something around there?
Yeah, something like that.
And they're really pushing this whole spatial AI thing.
That's the part that's what I'm interested in, how that's actually gonna work in practice.
Yeah, because I mean, I get VR, right? Like,
Yeah.
instead of just reading about the Roman Empire, you're there. But with this spatial AI, it's like,
It's like imagine like a personal tutor inside the VR experience. So say you're struggling with something, right? Like
hmm,
you're not getting, I don't know, the Colosseum or something. Spatial AI, they say, can kind of figure that out.
wait, so it like reads your mind?
Not mind reading, not yet at
Not,
least. It uses those sensors and algorithms, to track how you're moving, what you're doing in the virtual world, and then it adjusts things. It might
uh-huh.
like slow down, show you extra stuff, or even explain things differently.
So it's really like a custom learning experience.
That's the idea. And it makes sense, right? Because we all learn in different ways. Some people need to move, some need visuals, some need. Spatial AI could be that missing piece.
That's wild. And they're saying you can use this for like anything.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, EON Reality is pushing it for a ton of subjects, even working with like universities and companies to build training programs.
Okay, so like instead of just reading about how to fix a jet engine, you're in there doing it virtually.
Exactly. With the spatial AI there to like guide you through it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds way more engaging than my old textbooks, that's for sure. But like getting into the nitty-gritty, what are they saying this will actually do for learners? So they're claiming this Eon XR with its spatial AI is going to like supercharge how we learn.
Yeah, that's their big selling point, right?
But what does that actually even mean? Like, are we all going to like finish school in half the time?
Well, I don't know about graduating early, but they're throwing out some big numbers.
Yeah, like what?
Like students learning way faster, remembering more stuff, which, for you, someone who's all about efficiency and learning, that's got to be interesting.
For sure, for sure. It's like what used to take like a whole week to learn, now you can do it in like 2 days, three
Oh,
days.
that's the idea they're pushing.
Okay, so faster learning, I get that.
Yeah,
But they're also talking about cost savings, right? That's where I get a little, I don't know.
skeptical.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because usually you think new tech, that means big bucks,
Ugh,
right?
exact.
But they're actually saying the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying like if you move some of this training, this learning into the virtual space, you can cut out a lot of the expensive stuff like physical materials, travel, even real estate.
Okay, so like, give me an example.
Think about like flight schools, those flight hours, they're crazy expensive,
I
right?
know.
But if you can simulate a lot of that in VR, suddenly you're saving a ton of money.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of cool tech, one thing that jumped out at me about this bundle is the Meta Quest 3 headsets.
Hmm.
I mean, I think gaming when I see those, not, dissecting a frog in biology class. Virtually, of course.
Right. I mean, it's definitely a different context.
But is that like a good move, do you think? Using something so recognizable.
I think it's smart, yeah. We were talking about the cool factor before, right?
Right.
Well, the MetaQuest 3, people know it, even if they haven't used it for learning. It's not as intimidating,
Yeah.
like putting on some weird bulky thing.
Yeah, and those Quest 3s are pretty comfortable too, right?
Exactly. And comfort is a big deal if you're going to be learning in VR for, a while.
Yeah, no one wants a headset that feels like a vice on their head. But okay, beyond the comfort, what's the MetaQuest 3 really bringing to the table for learning? I mean, is it just about being like immersed in the experience?
It's a huge part of it, for sure. Like the Quest 3, it's got these super high resolution displays, right? And the spatial audio is incredible.
So you really feel like you're there.
Exactly. Like imagine studying ancient architecture, right? But
Yeah.
instead of just looking at pictures, you're walking through the Parthenon, hearing the echoes. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah, way more memorable than a textbook, that's for sure. And for visual learners,
Hmm.
forget about it, right?
Yeah.
Game changer. But okay, I have to like play devil's advocate here for a second. Remember 3D TVs? Everyone thought those were going to be huge.
I do. And
They kind of flopped. How do we know this isn't just another tech fad? I mean, yeah, you're right. We've seen it before, right? New tech comes out, everyone's excited, and then nothing.
Right. It fizzles out.
So how do we know? How do we know if this is different? If this Eon Reality thing is actually the future of learning?
Yeah, that's a good question. And honestly, I don't think anyone knows for sure, right? But there are like a few things to keep in mind. I mean, first off, does it even work, right?
Right.
And like we talked about, the data from EON Reality looks promising, but we need more, independent studies, real-world testing, not just what they're putting out there.
Okay, so don't get ahead of ourselves. Look at it critically. What else? What else is important here?
Accessibility. If this is going to actually change education, it can't just be for like the lucky few,
Yeah.
right?
Right, not just the schools with tons of money or the kids with the latest gadget.
Exactly. It's going to be affordable, accessible to everyone, and designed in a way that works for everyone, too.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone's going to want to strap on a headset, right? And that's okay.
It's about options, right? Making
Mhm.
sure everyone benefits, not just a small group. Okay, that makes sense. What's the third thing?
The third thing, I think it's the most important, and this is key, right? Technology, it should make good teaching better. It should enhance it, not replace it.
Okay, so you're saying even with all this fancy VR, AI tutors, we still need like good teachers in the classroom.
We absolutely do. A good teacher, their passion, their guidance, you can't replace that.
No, you can't. It's about connection, right?
100%. The human element. Tech can create these amazing experiences, but it's that connection, that teacher-student bond, that makes education, actually mean something.
That's a great point. Wow. Okay. So this has been eye-opening, to say the least. But I want to play this out a little further, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say this does happen, right? This is the future. VR, AR, it's as common in classrooms as, I don't know, as textbooks.
Okay, I like it.
What does that mean for learners? What skills do they need to like really thrive in that kind of world?
Ooh, that is such a good question because we're so focused on the tech, right? But it's really about like what do people do with it? And honestly, I think in a world swimming in information, the most important skill, it's not even a tech skill, it's critical thinking.
So not just knowing the answers,
Yeah.
right? But knowing how to like sift through it all, figure out what's real, what's not.
Yes. Being able to evaluate, analyze, form your own conclusions, that's going to be huge. And you know what else? Adaptability. Things are changing so fast. You got to be able to learn new things, unlearn old things, roll with the punches.
Be open to new ways of doing things, new tech, new everything.
Exactly. That's how you thrive in a world like that.
Wow, this has been a lot to process. It really makes you think, right? Like, where are we going with all this?
Right. And it's exciting, it's a little scary, but it's definitely not boring.
Not boring at all.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for, for diving into this with me. This was great.
Anytime. This is my kind of conversation. And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.